Hey, what's going on, high school kid? It's Travis from Perky's again. Hey, I'd like to hire all you kids. I really would, but I need to explain something to you. Sometimes we have to overcome some obstacles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some of the hurdles we have to jump through. I'm sure I'm going to get in trouble for this, but hey, I got to show you anyways. Check this out. Okay, if I am looking to hire one of you guys, I got to pay you guys $10 an hour, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you're not going to get $10 an hour because somewhere in there, I'm going to have to hold back a couple bucks for taxes, right? You're going to have taxes taken out of your check, right? Taxes. Okay, but also as the boss, that's me, man. As the employer, I have to match the taxes that I give to the government. This is a payroll tax, right? And then at the end of the year, I have to pay another tax called a FUTA tax. FUTA. Some of you guys are like, hey, I've never heard of a FUTA tax. They don't talk about that in school. Of course they don't. Okay, unless you're a business owner, if you're just an employee, you'll never have that FUTA tax. So in a wacky way, man, I'm paying a tax on the tax. I'm paying a tax on the tax for having a tax. Okay, now, crazy question. Check it out. If no one walks into my building, no one walks in this building, I make $0.00. If that's the case, how much money do I owe in taxes? Well, here's the kicker. Okay, if no one comes in and I make no money, I still owe this tax. For every employee working, I owe this tax. Right? I got to pay the matching tax and I have to pay the tax on the tax. So for each employee that's walked in the building, I owe you, but I owe the government for having you. So it makes things a little more challenging. Now, that's just one of the type of taxes, dude. We got another tax called the property tax. Now, some of you guys are like, well, you mean like property, like, you pay rent in the actual building? No, I mean property like this chair, that table, that chair, that table, that chair, that table. So I buy the table or I buy the chair and I pay a tax on it. And the next year I pay a tax on it. And the next year I pay a tax on it. And the next year I pay a tax on it. Like, oh, you got a refrigerator too? Okay, so you got to pay a tax on that. The next year you pay a tax on that. The next year you pay a tax on that. The next year you pay a tax on that. You have a coffee pot? Oh, you got to pay a tax on that. The next year you got to pay a tax. Which leads me to a weird thing. It's because businesses make money with this stuff. We have to pay a tax on it every single year. So if I was a stripper and I had a thong and that thong made me money, get that image out of your head, would I have to pay a tax on it? Yeah, when you buy it, you'd have to pay a tax on it. But the next year, would you have to pay a tax on it? Well, I guess if you made money on it, you have to pay a tax on it next year. You have to pay a tax on the next year. You have to pay a tax on the next year. Can you imagine getting that call from the government? Hey, do you still have that thong? That's crazy. But us businesses have to claim our property every year. So that's one thing. Like, okay, after paying the tax on the tax on the tax and the property tax, do I still want to hire people? Do I still have money left to hire people? I don't know. It gets kind of crazy like that. And then we have other taxes that are associated with crazy taxes or fees. Example of this, okay, pretend I wanted butter. Hey, you have a Waffle House, do you want butter? Guess what that butter is going to cost? That butter is going to cost me like $1,000 because I have to go to the building and safety people and I have to go pull a permit to have butter, right? A butter permit. And that thing might cost me, I don't know, $300, maybe $400. Right? And then I have to go get a box to catch the butter just in case the butter goes down inside the drain and plugs up the drain. It's like a 9-foot drain in the street. I can probably drive my car down the drain. I would have to melt every stick of butter on the West Coast just to plug up that drain. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet those 30,000 houses around me, those guys are cooking bacon and probably dumping it down that drain. But because I'm a business, hey, I got to pay the taxes. Who knows? Maybe it goes to roads, bridges, and infrastructure, right? That's going to be a buzzword this year with politicians. Roads, bridges, and infrastructure. Essentially, it's tax on the tax on the tax and the property tax, and then you have to have buildings and permits and boxes and taxes. Anyhow, that box is going to cost me probably somewhere around $400, and it's going to have to be installed by a commercial contractor licensed in the city. That might be an extra $300. So for $1,000, I get butter. So I got to decide, do I hire a kid or do I get butter? Which one's going to make me more money? And then the funny thing, I got a phone call from someone in the government. They're like, hey, did you know your yogurt permit's expired? Ha, that's funny. For two reasons that's funny. Number one, I don't have yogurt. And the second thing, seriously, you got to have permit to have yogurt? What about a grape? You have a grape? Uh-oh. So anyhow, I'm sitting there going, man, this is terrible. So if you guys don't understand what's going on here with us businesses, you're kind of going to get screwed. We're going to have a hard time hiring you. Matter of fact, if you looked at the May jobs report, the May jobs report was just revised down not too long ago. In the month of May, there were 11,000 jobs created in the entire United States. 11,000. That sucks, dude. There's 40,000 Subway restaurants alone. Think of it this way. That means everyone on the whole United States didn't create a whole lot of jobs, including Subway, out of, one out of every third Subway. That's brutal. So we're all facing this kind of situation right now. It's not cool. Another weird tax. This is super weird for me. So a guy like me, after I'm paying all my taxes, California's got a cool little corporate tax thing, which means I have to pay a minimum of $800 more in taxes after my taxes, and I gotta go to my tax man to do it, which means I have to pay him $500 so he can file the paper so I can pay $800. That's a lot of taxes when you're talking about the tax on the tax, with the taxes and the property taxes and all the permits and the wackiness. Now, here is the wacky thought about us small mom and pops. Dude, this is insane. Pay attention right here. Okay, after all these taxes, my business sometimes generates less than 1 penny. 1 penny. I work like 20 hours a day, and sometimes I only get 1 penny. Wackiness on the 1 penny. I have to pay, this is no joke, 75,000 times more than that in taxes. Not 75, I'm sorry, 75,000 times more in taxes, right? So if you were a school teacher and you had a check for $3,000, imagine you'd be all happy, yeah, I got $3,000. But then you got a tax bill for $450 million. That's about the same tax that we're paying as far as when it comes to percentage. So it becomes really tough to hire you, man. I would love to hire all of you, but I use my teaching gigs sometimes to help pay just to hire some of you kids. Anyhow, I'm Travis. I thought I'd share that with you. I love you. Bye.